Okay, let's think about something for a second. What if school wasn't just about memorizing facts for a test? Today, we're going to dive into Flying Wings, an online school that's built on that exact idea, crafting an education for a world that, let's be honest, never stops changing.
So I want to kick things off with a pretty big question for you. For generations, it feels like education has been this race to get the highest grade. But you got to ask, is an A plus really the only thing that matters? Does it actually prepare us for all the messy, complicated stuff in life, outside the classroom? Well, Flying Wings has a pretty clear answer to that. A big no. Their whole philosophy, their entire reason for being, is summed up in this one powerful idea: education for success in life, not merely success in examinations. This is the North Star that guides everything they do, and we're about to see exactly how they pull it off. Right, so let's start with their foundational why. Let's really dig into what it means to go beyond just cramming for tests. And this, right here, really lays out the difference, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the model most of us probably remember. The teacher talks, you listen, you memorize, and it's all about that final exam score. But Flying Wings, they completely flip that on its head. Their approach puts the student right in the middle of everything. It's all about fostering critical thinking and showing you how to apply what you know. Because, let's face it, in today's world, what you can do with your knowledge is way more important than what you can just remember. Okay, that all sounds amazing in theory, right? But how do they actually do it? Let's get into the how and explore the specific tools they use in what they call their active learning toolkit. The whole idea really comes down to this fundamental shift, moving away from just passively listening to someone talk. The goal is to get students to be active participants in their own education, using methods that are flexible, driven by the students themselves, and of course, powered by technology. First step in their toolkit is something called the flipped classroom. Now, imagine this. You do the lecture part on your own time, maybe watching some videos or doing some reading before class. So then the actual live class time is completely freed up for what really matters. Lively discussions, working through tough problems together, and getting real, meaningful interaction with the teacher. And all that extra class time? It's perfect for the next tool, which is project-based learning, or PBL. Instead of just learning about a concept from a textbook, students team up to work on projects that tackle actual real-world problems. This isn't about just getting the right answer. It's about learning to work together, to think critically, and to apply what you know to messy, complicated situations. Just like in real life. You see how this all connects. When you're tackling real problems, it just naturally leads to this next idea: inquiry-based learning. This is where a student's own curiosity is what drives the whole process. They're actually encouraged to ask their own questions, to investigate things, and to explore topics because they are interested. It's the difference between being told a fact and truly discovering it for yourself. And the magic that ties all of this together is technology, which allows for personalized learning. The whole educational journey actually adapts to each individual student. So if you're kind of struggling with a concept, you get more support. And if you've totally got it, you can move ahead. The pace, the content, it's all tailored just for you. And what's so important here is that it's not just about math or history. The curriculum is intentionally designed to build these essential life skills, things like critical thinking, communication, digital literacy, and even mental health awareness. These are the skills that are going to stick with you and really prepare you for whatever challenges pop up long after you've left the classroom. So if you're teaching all these different skills, how in the world do you measure them? That brings us to a really interesting part: how Flying Wings assesses the whole student, not just how well they can take a test. So their whole philosophy on this is actually pretty simple, but it's really powerful. Assessment isn't meant to be some final judgment. It's a tool for growth. It's all about giving feedback to guide the learning process, not just slapping a letter grade on something at the very end. Their approach really boils down to three main goals. First, they use assessments for ongoing improvement, just to keep things on track. Then, they check for mastery at the end of a unit. And finally, and this is key, they measure how well students can actually apply what they've learned in a real practical way. So first up, you've got what are called formative assessments. Now, think of these as like friendly check-ins during the learning process. We're talking low-stakes stuff, like a quick little quiz after a new topic or some feedback from a teacher on your homework. It's all designed to give you helpful guidance right when you need it, not to pile on more stress. Then, of course, you have summative assessment. This is what most of us think of when we hear the word test. It happens at the end of a unit, and its job is to see how much knowledge you've really soaked up. Think a final project or that big end-of-unit exam. But here's where things get really interesting. Performance-based assessment. This isn't about what you can spit back out from memory. It's about what you can actually do. It's about measuring your ability to perform a task, like giving a great presentation, running a science experiment, or even taking part in a role-playing scenario. It's about seeing skills in action. And one of the coolest ways they capture all this growth is with something called the Learning Portfolio. Let's take a closer look at what that is.
A portfolio is so much more than just a folder of old assignments. It's a carefully put together collection of a student's work that actually tells a story of their learning journey, their creativity, and how their skills have grown over an entire course.
So what are we talking about here? What's actually in one of these portfolios? Well, it could be anything from essays and project plans to teacher feedback and even self-assessments. The whole thing provides this rich, detailed picture of a student's progress that a single grade on a report card could just never capture.
All right, let's tie this all together. What's the end game? What is the ultimate result of this whole educational model? I mean, what kind of person does it produce?
So, at the end of the day, what you get is a graduate who has this incredible, well-rounded toolkit. Of course, they have the core academic knowledge, but they also have practical skills like project management and hands-on experience, and they have those crucial life skills like communication, resilience, and critical thinking. It really boils down to this. The goal isn't just to create a student who knows a bunch of stuff. It's to develop a well-rounded person who knows how to apply their knowledge, how to solve problems, and how to work with other people. They're not just students who know things, they're people who can do things. And that, brings us right back to the very beginning. This whole model really challenges us to rethink what education is all about, leaving us with one final question to chew on. Are we ready to start learning for life and not just for the test?